you know what you just said? Something so, I'm going to say so bloody obvious, but when you started doing it, it was so innovative. Like you just said, a physiological truth of the human body is that it moves in three planes of motion. Guess what? We should move the body in three planes of motion. You literally did that, and then the industry went, "Whoa, hang on a minute, are you
Yeah.
sure?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, we've got a fair bit of evidence to suggest that we should." Um, Another observation I'd like to share on my eyes of the time that I've spent with you and the countless hours I've looked at the screen of the Gray Institute education. And I'll tell a story. So when I was doing GIFT, you study the 40-week program. So when I wasn't there in Adrian, Michigan, I'd be on the computer and studying. And the way that you educate, Gary, I'm sure when people first come to the course and you dress up and you make up words. It's like, it's so cool. That's these words like, and I remember thinking, what the hell is this word? And there was this one night I was sitting down and it was all about the tailors. So you mentioned the tailors. And you dressed up and it was Surfing Joe Taylor's, right? So I was learning about the brilliance of chain reaction biomechanics, and I was learning from you on a computer screen, and you were dressed on a computer. Excuse me, you were dressed as a surfer and talking about how when the calcaneus goes one way, then you're surfing down, the calcaneus follows the talus follows the calcaneus. And at that moment, my wife walked past the screen, and I'll never forget my wife, Emanuela, going, "Andrew, what are you doing? Is this that course that, you three return air tickets to the US and you spend this money on this course?" I'm like, "Babe, it is." And the way he's teaching, the way Gary's teaching it's so ingenious, because I bet here we are, 9 years' time, the imprint that the way Gary taught me about the motion of the talus and chain reaction biomechanics, the calcaneus and the talus and then the tibia rolling down. I bet if I could go back to Andrew in that conversation, I'd asked you to go back to Gary 40 years ago, I would say, hey, the way Gary is teaching, and was that into transformalization? Or was that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that he's teaching will leave such an imprint on me that I will be able to remember that. And when I'm with my clients and I want to get more motion in the calcaneus to get the motion that I want to turn the hip on, for example, I will have this image of Gary being Surfing Joe Taylor, and I will never forget that, as opposed to, and please don't, there's nothing wrong with learning in a sterile environment where somebody delivers the facts and there's pictures, but I just found that so much more powerful for me to connect to and then use in my whole practice. So that's my story. And then my question comes back to you and say, at what stage did you take the bold and courageous move to teach biomechanics in that way? Was there a moment, or that you've just always been that guy?
Oh no, there's a moment. And I tell this story, and of course, when you tell a story over and over again, you wonder, did it really happen that way, or if I embellished it so much that I now believe it? But I tell a story, and this is a true story. I'm not sure all the facts are true, but I was in seventh grade. I sat down at the toilet to go to the bathroom, and back then, and we even now have the book that was key was what we call the Reader's Digest. And so my parents had the Reader's Digest, but it was always next to the toilet. And when you think about it, it's the most brilliant magazine in the world, because I call it poop time consistent. And here's what I mean by that. The articles aren't so long that you get a ring around your butt. And the articles aren't so short that you're done with the article, but you're not done pooping. So it's almost like somebody was a genius and said all of our articles in Reader's Digest are going to be poop time dependent. And I'm thinking, so I would frequently sit there and read, and it was almost the perfect timing. And I read one article one time in seventh grade, and the name of the article is "I Am Joe's Foot." And I thought, that's intriguing. And in seventh grade, I was a weird dude, because I knew two things that I wanted. I wanted to be a therapist and help people, and I wanted to marry this really cute girl that I saw. I got fortunate. I somehow became a therapist, and I got to marry the cute girl that I saw in seventh grade. So that was a pretty good deal. So I already had a sense that I'm going to be something to do with the body. And so when I read about this, it says, "Hi, I'm Joe's foot. I have a twin brother. I'm Joe's right foot. My twin brother is Joe's left foot. And we don't do a lot at night. We just kind of hang out, look at each other, kind of review what the day was like, just kind of check ourselves. But then when we hear the alarm go off, oh no, we know Joe's going to get up. He's going to smash us into the ground." And yesterday, for some reason, when Joe went to the bathroom, he missed the toilet. He's got me, and I'm just hoping and praying that he doesn't pee on me today. And then the whole article was this foot talking to you. And I'm thinking, oh, this is brilliant. I mean, this is like, I understood the foot. I literally understood the foot. So I basically found out that there were other articles just like that, and they were actually called Joe and Jane's Body Parts. And so back then, there's not internet. You had to write, "Dear Reader's Digest, can you send me a list of the reprints of the Joe and Jane body parts?" They send it. You look at it, and I can remember looking at it, the whole list of Joe's body parts and a whole list of Jane's. So usually in a seminar, I'll ask people, "So what two did I order?" Because I only had enough money for two. And some people will say, "Well, you like the hip, it's going to be the hip," or you have a foot fetish, the foot. And I go, no, I'm going to put it in perspective. I'm in seventh grade, and then they get it. So I ordered Joe's penis and Jane's vagina because I knew nothing about, I knew I had one, but I didn't really know what it thought, and I certainly didn't know what a vagina thought. This is a little bit of the part I'm making up. So that when I got the penis article, I said, "Hi, I'm Joe's penis. I'm really not a bone." And as a seventh grader, you go, "Wait a minute. I just learned a couple years ago you call it a boner. So how can this thing not be a bone?" And I can remember telling that story. And my son, Doug, at the end of the day, he says, "Dad, you got to stop lying to people." And I go, "Well, what do you mean, Doug?" He goes, "I know most of your stories are true, but that Reader's Digest one." I said, "Doug, that's about as true as it gets." He goes, "Come on, there's a Reader's Digest." And so I had to go on to Amazon, and now it's one book, Joe and Jane's Body Parts, if anybody's interested. And right there, it has Jane's vagina and Joe's penis and Joe's feet. So I know that influenced me going, well, I'm a Pooh Bear, very little brain, but a big heart, hopefully. And I need somebody to give me something really visual and kinesthetic for me to understand it. I knew I didn't do really good on two-dimensional paper, what the subtalar joint did. And so that's kind of, I got a cute story to add to that, because a couple of weeks ago, the glutes, as you remember, were the Incredibles. So I have this incredible outfit, and so people want to know, okay, tell us more of the tricks of the trade on how to turn on the back butt. So I put on my Mr. Incredible outfit, and I went through a bunch of stuff that actually movements that create that flexion and adduction and internal rotation, what really turns on the back butt. And people loved it. And so this week I'm going to do what's called the front butt. And we always, as you know, tease that most people's back butts are bigger than their front butt. And you can do a triple blind study if you want, but just get naked and, turn sideways and go, "Oh yeah, that back butt's a lot bigger." And so there's a lot more power back there, but the front butt's underrated. It can do a lot of things. So the problem is I had a costume, so to speak, for the iliopsoas. As you know, I had for the adductors, Abby abdominals I had, but I didn't have one just purely for the front butt. So now, I have to go, okay, what comes to mind? And so I just looked down at my front butt and noticed that I had nuts. And so I think, well, who likes nuts? Well, a squirrel likes nuts. And so it's right behind me. I have my big squirrel outfit that I'm going to wear, and I'm going to be nut butt, the front butt, and basically say, and here's what I do as the front butt. People don't really appreciate me, but I'm really important. In fact, I might be the weak link in a lot of injuries such as ACL, labral tears, and abdominal tears. So,
what's great, Gary? If we go back, everyone, let's go back to the introduction of this podcast. We introduced Gary, and I said he's the CEO and chief content creator of the Gray Institute. And we just got to dive into your mind for a moment. how you create the content. You went, hang on a minute. If I look down, there's my nuts. Who eats nuts?
Yep.
A squirrel. So a squirrel, the nut butt. And you just
Yep.
totally expose yourself how your mind works. That was brilliant.